Alright. Hello, guys. This will be another rant video. I apologize for the sudden end for my last video. My camera shut off on its own. I think it's because I had too much data, so I went back and deleted some apps. So hopefully that won't happen this time. But yeah, this is going to be a rant on long road trips. I did this rant while I was at my Uncle Junior's house during Thanksgiving. But I'm going to redo it since we're now at my house. So yeah. Like I've said before, I'm okay with ones that are only a few hours long. 3 hours long, 4 hours long. Even 8 hours long I can handle. But it's the freaking 15 to 30 hours long. That's where it gets to be too fucking much for me. Seriously, why the hell would you force someone to go on a road trip that long? And the reason why one of the reasons why I'm doing this rant is similar, is pretty much the same reason to why I did pretty much the same thing to one of my reasons why I did my last long road trips rant. I heard my dad talk about the California trip again. And then I was just like, oh god. And the thing is, my parents damn well know that I don't do good on long road trips. I remember, when we went to Florida, I was miserable. I kept having a hard... And I'm not trying to sound like this is too much information, but I kept having a hard time, holding it in when we needed to go to the bathroom. I was bored shitless. I was sluggish and tense the whole time. It was not good. And on top of that, me and my family were at each other's throats all the time. Or at least I was with my family. It was ugly. I just really, 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 really hope I'll be able to talk to my dad. He better be understanding. If not, then I don't know. But yes, that's one of the reasons why. That's already a few reasons. Another reason is the Wi-Fi may get shut off for a while, and there's not much you can do without it. Plus, even just looking at your phone, sometimes that can strain your eyes or give you a headache. So even you can't even really do that. You can look at the scenery but even that gets boring after a while. I like to do that if it's just a few hours, but a whole fucking day or 2 days, come on now, that I would go insane. And I told you about, and also I remember back in August 2016, I remember my dad was planning a trip to Virginia for a while, which we never went on, thank the fucking Lord, and I hope we never, or at least he doesn't force me to go on there. But I remember overhearing my dad talk about it for the first time back in August 2016. And I just kind of kept it inside. I kind of just hid the fact that I didn't want to go for a few months, but like I think it was like in early 2017, like March, or I think it was February or March is when I finally summoned the courage to talk to my mom about it. I never talked to my dad. She is the one who told him, but I did talk to my mom. Because, like, she is a little more understanding when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, she isn't, like, totally understanding. Like, not 100%, and I'm gonna get into that story, but she is a little more considerate and aware of my feelings towards these long-ass road trips. So, I did talk to her about it finally, like, back in, like, a few months, or not even at, like 7 months after my dad first mentioned about it. And, you know, at first she was understanding. She was like, okay, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But then one morning, and I believe it was May, it was like, I think it was like towards the end of May, maybe the beginning, I don't know, but I believe it was sometime in May. It was morning. I believe it was a weekday morning because my dad had to go to work, and I was just laying in my bed. I heard my parents kind of argue about something. I wasn't sure what, but the only thing I can remember hearing is my dad talking about something about the RV and like cooking breakfast for me, something like that. That's all I remember hearing. Then, like, later on, just a little bit later, like, when my dad heads off to work, I go into my mom's room, and then she's like, I told your dad that you didn't want to go see David and Angie. And then I was like, oh, God. And then she was like, no, something like, no, just listen to me. Your dad made some good points. I'm quoting what my mom said, by the way. Your dad made some good points. He said families should do things together, and I do agree with that to some extent. I'm not saying that families just shouldn't do things together. That's not what I'm saying. So yes, I do agree with that to some extent, but if people are not cut out to be drugged half-ass across the country and half-ass back, then, you know, some people just aren't cut out for it, whether they're driving or not. And, you know, parents need to learn to look at the bigger picture, and they need to learn to be more respectful when it comes to some of their kids' weaknesses and whatnot. But yeah, she said something along the lines of families should have to do things together, and yeah. And because I knew that an argument was like this was gonna come. Like, I was dreading it. I wasn't sure when exactly, but I knew, I somehow either just knew or I was just dreading it. And what do you know, it happens. And my parents, or my mom also said stuff like, as long as you live under this roof, you will do what we say. And, I've talked about this before with you guys. But yes, I remember that argument I had with my mom. It made me cry because, like if I'm, put under stress or, people get mad at me, I cry easily. Okay? That's just me. I cry easily when people put me under stress, or when people, put me in an unpleasant situation, or if people, yell at me or get angry at me, I cry easily. Especially if I know that something's coming, that will make me cry at the drop of a hat, and that was one of those situations. So yeah. My mom was also angry because I think my dad got her in a bad mood, and he also kind of brainwashed her into thinking the same thing he did. But yeah, that kind of ruined my day. We did go to dinner at Big Sam's that night because there was a storm coming and we would evacuate, and that kind of cheered me up because it was nice to kind of go out and eat a yummy burger and some yummy fries, but I was still stressed out about what had happened, and I was also worried about the future of that. So yeah. I just wish people, particularly parents, took the time to understand where their child is coming from. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there is only one person who understands you, who knows exactly what goes on in your head and knows exactly what you want and don't want. And that person is you. You. And like I said, I'm not saying that I'm totally gonna, just not do anything with my dad and my brother. There are some stuff I want to do with them, even though I'm a homebody, but I wouldn't mind going on, some long road trips, that are, that are just, a little bit long, to Dallas, which is, I think, about 4 hours long, to, the town is called, Ruidosa. I can't remember how to pronounce the town, but something like that, and oh, no, it wasn't Ruidosa. It was San Angelo. I think. San Angelo. And I think that's 4 hours away, I can handle that. Even 8-hour ones, I wouldn't mind going on once in a while, but I'm sorry, but you have to be an idiot to force someone to go on a long road trip that's freaking 20-something hours long. I'm sorry, but if you have made your child go on one before and they didn't enjoy it, and they tried to tell you that they didn't enjoy it, and tried to tell you that they wouldn't enjoy the next one, and I'm sorry, but you need to learn some consideration skills. I'm not trying to tell parents how to raise their kids or anything, but I just wish people were just more considerate and understanding, and they took the time to think about stuff and to remember stuff. Because when we went to Florida, I mean, some parts of the trip was fun, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I was tense and stressed out the entire time. Me and my parents were at each other's throat. I was at my brother's throat the entire time. It was very unpleasant. And then like back in November when my dad mentioned about the California trip for the first time, I tried telling my dad that I didn't want to go, and I brought up Florida, and they didn't even freaking believe me. Like, they just said, you enjoyed the Florida trip. You know, come on now. And I know, like, you even said, like, I think one of the issues is my dad and my brother don't remember stuff like I do, and I get that. Like, I understand that. Like, some people just don't have the memory that I do, but, like, if I try to remind you of something, like, come on, like, please be respectful and be like, okay, sure. You know what I mean? Besides, like, what's the worst that can happen if I did stay home from California? Like, sure, I may not see my dad or my brother for a couple of days, but, you know, we have security, we have food and appliances that I can just cook and I can just use and cook myself without, like, burning myself or burning the house down. Plus, I have, like, relatives who can check up on me. Plus, I can be very, like, independent in certain aspects. Like, I spend a lot of time just alone in my room chilling anyway. Just chatting with my friends on Discord and just, watching TV, playing games, So I don't understand why it's such a big deal if me not going. Besides, like I said, like, I do plan going on some long road trips with them. Just not ones that require us to travel half-ass across the country. Like I said, like, we can go. I wouldn't mind going to Dallas a few times. I wouldn't mind going to San Angelo a few times. But California, Virginia, fuck that. Besides, like, I'm a homebody, okay? Like, I am a homebody. Like, I don't like to spend too much time away from home at a time. I mean, I'm okay with, maybe a night or two, but, like, when it gets to be, like, more than that, especially when it's in a different state, like, I get really, 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 really homesick. And do I get stir crazy? Well, yes, but I prefer, like one day activities. You know what I mean? I prefer activities, like, that are just, like, day activities, like, where I don't have to spend the night anywhere, I can just go there for, 4 to 8 hours and come back home. I much prefer that over taking vacations. But like I said, I don't mind short ones, like ones that are only like a night or two and ones that are only a few hours away. I can handle that, but I do wish parents were more respectful when it comes to children who aren't cut out for out-of-state ones like that. Not only will you be doing your child a favor, but you'll also be doing yourself a favor. But yeah, I hope I can get through to my dad. If it involves yelling and tears, and then so be it, but I have to get through to him somehow. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank goodness this video didn't end on me again.